Hi, I have Joseph Yoder with me. He is our speaker at the JDD 2013, and he was at previous editions of the event. I will ask him a few questions about the speech and about your JDD opinion, how it was in the past and how it is now. I will start with the presentation. During the lecture, you are talking about the BBOM architecture. What does those letters stand for, and what is your speech about?
So basically, BBOM stands for Big Balls of Mud, and it's something that we had coined the term about 15 years ago, and it really stands for what we, at that time, even though we try to talk a good game, we noted that most of the successful software architectures deployed to date are not so eloquent. They're more like these big balls of mud, spaghetti code. And people's called them different types of things, these legacy systems. And so the talk yesterday was really about, okay, this happens. Even good people, the best intentions, no matter what you do, just like when you're building a city or anything, there's natural forces that can tend to tear a system apart. And so how do you deal with that? How can you contain the mud and evolve the architectures to something better? Through and in this talk specifically, I was focusing on not only describing it, but then so that we could understand it, but then talking about some best practices to help. You won't get rid of it completely, but to contain it and make it more livable, just like in your home. So for example, I looked at using some agile practices, some best practices in refactoring. I put together my top 10 list of code smells, and where you can take a lot of small steps to really kind of contain and get things under control and testable. So it's kind of a fun talk. Sometimes it's kind of scary that one of the best things I'm known for is big balls of mud, but it's really just because we coined the term, and really, like, let's not be afraid to talk about the realities.
You have attended other lectures of other speakers who were invited to the JDD conference. Which of those speeches you would recommend to our attendees, or to people who didn't have chance to come to the event, but they want to see that on our YouTube profile?
Well, one in particular I would highly recommend was the opening talk by Nathan. Trying to remember the exact title of it, but it really dealt with the similar topic, because he was looking at the reality of trying to get software correct. The exactly correct or perfect software is a fallacy, and we should accept that fact that we're not going to be able to really prove our software works. So really, by taking a lot of steps to prove that our software is good enough and kind of move towards that good enough, and there's a quality in good enough, which is similar to kind of what I was talking about in the big balls of mud. But he gave a very intriguing talk from that perspective to kind of motivate that. There was a lot of other, I also went to a testing track by Thomas, and then there was a very interesting track on, I'm trying to remember the exact name. I wish I had my schedule in front of me, but it had to do with writing the Java, using Java to do the JavaScript. So they basically had the Java virtual machine built in as JavaScript. So then you could write all your normal Java files, and then it could be interpreted into JavaScript, and you can run in any browser. But you just wrote it in Java, so you didn't have to play around with the problems of trying to write ugly JavaScript code. You can force on your normal kind of object design with your favorite Java browser, whatever that may be. This was mostly described through as a plugin for NetBeans that you could do it with.
You are participating, you are attending different Java or programming conferences in the world. How is JDD situated? How it is placed among other events?
I would put JDD as one of those top conferences, mainly because this is one thing I like about JDD, similar to some other conferences I've been to, such as YOW or QCon or whatever. Those are also, I consider, top conferences like JDD, is they really focus on to make an exciting environment for the attendees. And they have a lot of speakers. They make sure to make their speakers feel comfortable, and they put the environment so the speakers and attendees feel very comfortable talking together and sharing different stories. And so it's a very interactive conference, like an unconference type style conference. And so there's that good feeling that you get from that. And plus, it's really the organizers and I'm not saying this because you're one of the organizers, but because just from my past JDDs, which I didn't know you from before, the organizers have really thought carefully about how to really get the good mix of different topics and people and environment from that. And I think that's the key. Whereas some conferences I've been to, it's more like this heavyweight submission process, and it's not really it depends on the program committee and how you get graded. Whereas these conference organizers for JDD and like YOW and the go-to conferences are really focused on, let's design what's best for these people. And so we'll pick and choose and set up that environment. So I'd put it as one of the top ones. I mean, I've been to a lot of academic conferences or other technical conferences, but this is a good feeling, and it's almost like a small conference feeling. Even though it's grown pretty large, you still get that small feeling.
And if people would like to go abroad to attend other Java events which are international, which of those events you would recommend? Where they should go?
Just pure Java event?
Yeah, pure Java.
Pure Java events, it's...
Okay,
JDD, it's just hard to say pure Java events.
Okay, so
a lot of events, even though some are pure Java, but clearly I would highly recommend this conference. But this conference, even once again, it's more than just Java. That's what I really like about it, because even though Java is the big focus of it, it also looks at the bigger picture of software development. So my type of favorite Java events conferences are ones that cover that. Now, a lot of conferences are trying to do that. Even the original YOW one that they had in Denmark started off as just pure Java, but then they evolved to more than that. So to me, it's more than just the language or more than just the technology, which is cool. I mean, there's the GeekCon and there's some other types of things that focus on different areas of that. But it's nice when you start incorporating some of the other things. So the Java events that I like is when it looks at the bigger picture, even from are there best practices or the Agile side or the people side? Because it seems to me that more software projects fail, not from the technology, because we're good engineers, software engineers like to solve problems. But the people side and how to deal with those types of things is just as important, and look at that. And that's what I like about, for example, this conference, is it's really focused on that.
You said you like the unconference style. This distance between speakers and between the attendees is not so huge that they have a contact with each other and they can talk. This is also connected with our theme, with the coding at the edge of Galaxy, with the restaurant at the edge of Galaxy. How do you like this kind of branding? Is it more? Does it make the event more attractive? And this is must be at the event to have some kind of a theme, or this is not necessary, and the attendees are not taking care about that. They are not focused on having such things at the event.
By the way, the branding is cool. Okay, so to me, I think it's key and core to what you're doing. It was cool to even take the picture and put on my Facebook and kind of spread around coding at the end. You get that good feel. But also just the style. My favorite thing that happens at conferences, and most people I've talked to, I mean, going to the presentations is nice. And you see cool presentations and thought-provoking talks or tutorials or whatever. But what really happens is after those things, is let's get into a dialogue, and you talk to different people, and now let's talk about what that person said. They get me, the first they might get me emotionally in my stomach, and then they get me in my head really thinking, and then hit me in the heart, get me passionate about something, and then you start getting into the good discussions in between those sessions. And so when you're having things like open sessions or open cafes or for example, they had a little bit of a panel where we were able to get into a debate about refactoring legacy code, but a lot of the audience participated. Those types of things just make a conference more fun. So to me, those are key to doing that. So the type of branding that I think is part of it, but also you can brand it whatever you want, but if you just come in here and it's just one thing after another, and you don't really set up the environment for people to interact, then I think it would be a lot less successful. So as you're organizing in the future years, I'd highly encourage you to do even more things to make it on that open side.
Just at the for the end of this interview, if you were to summarize JDD in one sentence, what would you say?
One sentence. Okay. JDD is an exciting interactive conference at a cool place, a beautiful city in Poland, so come check it out.
Thank you. We had Joseph Yoder with me. I hope you enjoyed his lecture. If you haven't seen that, then please go to our YouTube profile because it was quite interesting. Thank you for coming here again to Poland. I hope you will be with us during next edition, and you will also invite your friends from the Java community to come and see how JDD cool is. Thank you for this short interview, and please watch on our YouTube profiles for other movies and other interviews which will come in the next following days. Thank you.
Dziękuję.